In the glittering galaxy of Hollywood, few stars shine as brightly or as enduringly as Tom Cruise. With a career spanning over 4 decades, Cruise has transformed from a young boy with a troubled childhood to one of the most bankable and iconic movie stars in the world. But behind the million-dollar smile and death-defying stunts lies a journey marked by struggle, ambition, resilience, and reinvention. Thomas Cruise Maypother IV was born on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York, to Mary Lee, a special education teacher, and Thomas Cruise Maypother III, an electrical engineer. Raised in a devout Catholic household, Cruise's early life was far from easy. His family moved frequently, and by the time Tom was 14, he had attended 15 different schools in the US and Canada. Cruise's father was often described as abusive and distant. In interviews, Thomas called his father a merchant of chaos, someone who beat you for sneezing the wrong way. These early experiences of instability and fear would later become a source of emotional depth in many of his performances. Adding to his challenges, Tom Cruise was also diagnosed with dyslexia at a young age. Reading and learning became constant struggles, and school was often a source of anxiety. But where he lacked academic success, he found strength in determination and resilience. Tom's first ambition was not to become a movie star, but rather a Catholic priest. He even spent a year in a Franciscan seminary in Cincinnati. However, his interest soon shifted when he took part in a school play called Guys and Dolls. The thrill of performing on stage was a revelation. Acting gave him an identity and a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. After high school, Tom moved to New York City to pursue acting full-time. With just a few $100s in his pocket, he took odd jobs, like bussing tables, to support himself while attending auditions. In 1981, after a few small parts, Tom landed a supporting role in Taps, a military drama starring Timothy Hutton and George C. Scott. His performance caught the attention of casting directors, and soon more offers started to come his way. Breakthrough role, Risky Business. In 1983, Tom Cruise catapulted into the limelight with his breakout role in Risky Business. As Joel Goodson, a high school student who turns his parents' home into a temporary brothel, Cruise delivered a charismatic performance that made audiences and critics take notice. But it wasn't just his acting that grabbed attention, it was that scene. You know the one. Sunglasses, button-down shirt, socks, and lip-syncing to Bob Seger's old-time rock and roll. It became an iconic moment in cinema history and firmly established Cruise as a rising star. Risky Business wasn't just a hit at the box office, it was a cultural moment. It defined an era and helped cement the 1980s teen movie craze. While Risky Business introduced Cruise to the world, it was Top Gun in 1986 that made him a full-blown international superstar. Directed by Tony Scott and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, the film told the story of Maverick, a rebellious and exceptionally talented Navy pilot. Cruise's portrayal of Pete Maverick Mitchell was electric. His cocky grin, intense presence, and emotional vulnerability struck a perfect balance that appealed to both male and female audiences. Combined with high-octane aerial dogfights, a killer soundtrack, and steamy romance, Top Gun became the highest-grossing film of 1986. After Top Gun, Cruise was no longer just an actor. He was a brand, a symbol of the cool, confident, and rebellious American dream. Climbing higher, versatility, and recognition. Instead of coasting on his newfound fame, Cruise made bold choices that proved he was more than just a pretty face. He began working with some of the most respected directors in the business and chose roles that challenged him as an actor. In The Color of Money, 1986, he starred alongside Paul Newman under the direction of Martin Scorsese, holding his own in a story about mentorship and moral complexity. In Rain Man, 1988, Cruise played Charlie Babbitt, a self-centered young man who discovers he has an autistic brother, portrayed by Dustin Hoffman. The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and helped Cruise gain critical credibility. In Born on the 4th of July, 1989, directed by Oliver Stone, Cruise portrayed real-life Vietnam War veteran Ron Kovic. The emotionally intense and physically demanding role earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and a Golden Globe win. By the end of the 1980s, Cruise had shown the world that he was not just a blockbuster actor. He was a serious performer with range, discipline, and emotional depth. The early 1990s saw Cruise riding high, both in critical acclaim and commercial appeal. Every film he touched turned to gold. In A Few Good Men, 1992, Cruise played Lieutenant Daniel Coffey, a military lawyer who locks horns with Jack Nicholson's iconic character in the now legendary courtroom scene. You Can't Handle the Truth, directed by Rob Reiner. The film was a massive hit and proved Cruise's prowess in intense dramatic roles. The Firm, 1993, based on John Grisham's best-selling novel, showcased Cruise in the role of a young, ambitious lawyer caught in a dangerous conspiracy. The film was both a critical and box office success. With Interview with the Vampire, 1994, Cruise took a bold risk, portraying the elegant and sinister vampire Lestat alongside Brad Pitt. Many fans of the original novel had doubted Cruise's casting, but his performance won them over and added a gothic layer to his ever-expanding resume. By the mid-90s, Cruise had evolved from a teen heartthrob into a versatile, commanding actor, unafraid of complex roles. Mission Impossible, a franchise is born. In 1996, Cruise launched one of the most defining projects of his career, the Mission Impossible franchise. Based on the classic TV series, the first Mission Impossible film, directed by Brian De Palma, introduced audiences to Ethan Hunt, a secret agent caught in webs of betrayal and high-stakes espionage. Cruise not only starred in the movie, but also produced it, marking a major step in his career as a creative force behind the camera. The film was a global hit, earning over $450 million. It set the stage for what would become one of the most successful action franchises in cinema history. Cruise's commitment to performing many of his own stunts made headlines and added a layer of authenticity and danger to the films that audiences loved. Each sequel would push the envelope further, but the first Mission Impossible was the launchpad of Cruise as both actor and mogul. Awards, recognition, and romantic drama. The late 90s continued to bring both artistic achievements and personal headlines. In Jerry Maguire, 1996, Cruise portrayed a sports agent who has a morals awakening. Directed by Cameron Crowe, the film gave Cruise one of his most beloved characters. "Show me the money" became a pop culture catchphrase, and Cruise's performance earned him his second Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and a Golden Globe win. In Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, he starred opposite then-wife Nicole Kidman in the final film by legendary director Stanley Kubrick. The film was mysterious, erotic, and controversial, mirroring the rumors that had begun swirling about Cruise's real-life marriage. Speaking of Nicole Kidman, the couple, once considered Hollywood's golden pair, had married in 1990 after meeting on the set of Days of Thunder. Their relationship attracted massive media attention, and they adopted 2 children. But despite appearances, their marriage was often under the spotlight for being troubled behind closed doors. In 2001, after more than a decade together, Cruise and Kidman divorced. The split was highly publicized and led to speculation about Cruise's personal beliefs and private life. Scientology and public scrutiny. Throughout his career, one topic that would follow Cruise and sometimes overshadow his work was his involvement with the Church of Scientology. He had become a member in the 1980s and had always been open about his faith. But during the early 2000s, his association with the church became more pronounced and controversial. In 2005, Cruise made headlines for his behavior during several TV interviews. His passionate defense of Scientology's stance on psychiatry during an interview with Matt Lauer on the Today Show led to viral criticism. His couch-jumping moment on the Oprah Winfrey Show, where he professed his love for then-girlfriend Katie Holmes, became both iconic and polarizing. While some found it endearing, others saw it as erratic. Cruise's public image took a hit. Tabloids ran wild, and some fans began to distance themselves. Yet, despite the criticism, Cruise remained focused on his craft. A career resurgence. Just when critics thought Cruise might be slipping, he came roaring back. In Collateral 2004, Cruise played against type as a cold-blooded hitman opposite Jamie Foxx. The film was praised for its gritty realism and showcased Cruise's range once again. Then, in War of the Worlds 2005, directed by Steven Spielberg, Cruise delivered a powerful performance as a flawed father trying to protect his children in the face of an alien invasion. The film was a box office juggernaut, earning over $600 million globally. By the late 2000s, the Mission Impossible franchise also returned with renewed energy. Each new installment pushed the action further, with Cruise performing stunts that seemed nearly impossible. Climbing the Burj Khalifa in Ghost Protocol 2011, hanging off the side of an airplane during takeoff in Rogue Nation 2015, performing a halo jump from 25,000 feet in Fallout 2018. These stunts didn't just wow audiences, they redefined action cinema. At a time when many stars relied on green screens, Cruise was risking life and limb for the perfect shot. As the 2010s unfolded, Tom Cruise was no longer just a megastar. He was a symbol of consistency, passion, and cinematic excellence in an ever-changing Hollywood. While other stars rose and fell, Cruise remained rock solid. His legacy was still being written, and it was only getting more thrilling. A reinvented Maverick. In 2012, Cruise revisited the action genre with Jack Reacher, based on the best-selling novels by Lee Child. Though initially controversial due to Cruise's physical difference from the book's character, Reacher is 6 feet 5 inches. The film delivered gritty action and suspense. Cruise's charisma and discipline carried it, and a sequel followed in 2016. But while Jack Reacher showed his ability to launch new franchises, it was another return that would make history. Mission Impossible, more daring than ever. The Mission Impossible franchise reached new heights, literally and figuratively. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol 2011 stunned the world when Cruise climbed the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building on Earth, with no CGI tricks. The scene became iconic, and the movie grossed nearly $700 million, revitalizing the series. In Rogue Nation 2015, Cruise hung on to a military cargo plane as it took off, performed underwater sequences holding his breath for over 6 minutes, and outdid every spy movie competitor. Fallout 2018 marked a pinnacle. Cruise jumped between buildings, breaking his ankle in the process but finishing the shot, flew helicopters himself, and delivered one of the most critically acclaimed action films of the decade. These movies weren't just adrenaline-pumping spectacles. They were career-defining statements. At 50-plus years old, Tom Cruise wasn't slowing down, he was accelerating. Family, faith, and public perception. Though Cruise continued to dominate on screen, his personal life remained closely guarded and often mysterious. In 2006, he married actress Katie Holmes, and the couple welcomed their daughter Suri, Cruise the same year. Their relationship seemed like a fairy tale at first, but it ended in a very public and abrupt divorce in 2012, with Katie filing for full custody. Suri has lived largely away from the public eye since then, and Cruise has been mostly private about his role in her life. Critics and tabloids continued to speculate about the influence of Scientology on his personal relationships and decisions. Cruise remained loyal to the church, and while he occasionally addressed it in interviews, he generally avoided prolonged discussions about his faith. Despite all this, Cruise's fan base remained loyal, his colleagues praised his professionalism, and his reputation as one of the hardest-working actors in Hollywood continued to grow. A cultural icon with a comedic side. In the late 2000s, Cruise also reminded the world that he could laugh at himself. In Tropic Thunder 2008, he surprised fans by playing Les Grossman, a loud, vulgar, overweight Hollywood producer, completely unrecognizable under prosthetics. The role was a hit and showcased Cruise's rarely seen comedic chops. It earned him a Golden Globe nomination and left audiences in stitches. This move added depth to his public persona. It was clear Tom Cruise didn't just want to be known as an action hero or dramatic actor. He wanted to prove he could do it all. COVID-19 and the return of movie theaters. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020, the movie industry suffered massively. Theaters closed, productions halted, The future of cinema itself was uncertain. But Cruise wasn't about to sit back. He made headlines again during the production of Mission: Impossible 7, when audio leaked of him scolding crew members for breaking COVID protocols on set. While the tone was controversial, many praised him for taking the pandemic seriously and protecting the livelihood of cast and crew. Cruise was on a mission, not just in the film, but to save cinema. Top Gun: Maverick, a triumphant return. In 2022, after years of anticipation, Cruise released Top Gun: Maverick, the long-awaited sequel to the 1986 classic. No one expected just how big it would be. Cruise returned as Pete Maverick Mitchell, older, wiser, but still rebellious. The film featured practical aerial stunts, with Cruise training the young cast to handle real G-force in fighter jets. No green screens, no digital tricks, just authentic flight footage and emotional storytelling. The result? Over $1.5 billion worldwide box office. Widespread acclaim, with many calling it better than the original. Nominated for multiple Oscars and a Best Picture nomination. Loved by fans of all generations. It was a movie that revived cinema post-pandemic. Tom Cruise didn't just return to his roots. He redefined what it meant to be a Hollywood star in the modern age. His work ethic, a class of its own. What separates Tom Cruise from his peers? Unmatched dedication. He trains for months for every stunt. No stunt doubles. He skydives, climbs, rides, and drives himself. Total involvement. As a producer, he's hands-on with every aspect of filmmaking. Respect for audience. Cruise consistently says, "I make movies for the big screen, for the audience." He isn't just an actor. He's a showman, a creator, and a guardian of cinematic experience. Legacy in Hollywood. Today, Tom Cruise stands as one of the last true movie stars, a term often used but rarely earned. Over $11 billion in global box office. Dozens of iconic films across genres. Collaborations with legends like Spielberg, Kubrick, De Palma, Cameron Crowe, Scorsese, and more. Still pushing the boundaries of cinema into his 60s. He is respected by his co-stars, admired by filmmakers, and beloved by fans. Whether he's playing an action hero, a dramatic lead, a vampire, a lawyer, or a sarcastic studio executive, Cruise fully inhabits every role, and audiences believe him every time. After more than 4 decades of unmatched dedication to cinema, Tom Cruise continues to prove why he stands as one of the greatest actors and producers in Hollywood history. But the story doesn't end with success. It moves toward immortality in the hearts of audiences. The mission continues. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. In 2023, Cruise released the 7th installment in his ever-growing Mission Impossible saga. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The title alone suggested a 2-part finale, a potential ending to the character of Ethan Hunt, the role Cruise had played for over 25 years. The film was shot across Europe under intense COVID restrictions and featured some of Cruise's boldest stunts yet. Driving a motorcycle off a cliff, then base jumping for real with no CGI. Elaborate chase scenes through Venice. Intense train fights that reminded fans of classic adventure cinema. Though the film was slightly overshadowed at the box office by competing blockbusters, Barbie, Oppenheimer, it still grossed over $500 million and reaffirmed Cruise's commitment to big screen storytelling. Looking ahead, Dead Reckoning Part 2 and beyond. Cruise isn't done. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2 is set to be the franchise's grand finale. Though delayed due to the SAG-AFTRA strike and global production issues, Cruise continues to work behind the scenes to deliver a cinematic masterpiece. Speculations suggest Ethan Hunt's final mission, a legacy handoff to a younger agent, a tribute to everything the Mission Impossible franchise has built over the decades. Cruise has hinted in interviews that he won't stop acting anytime soon. In fact, he has publicly said he'd love to continue acting into his 80s, just like Harrison Ford. Space, the next frontier. Yes, space. In collaboration with NASA and SpaceX, Tom Cruise is planning to film a movie in outer space. The film will be directed by Doug Liman, Edge of Tomorrow. It will include sequences shot on the International Space Station. If successful, Cruise will become the first civilian actor to film scenes in actual space. Once again, Cruise is pushing boundaries, not for fame, but to redefine what cinema can be. His impact on the film industry. Tom Cruise's influence is felt in nearly every corner of the movie industry. Top Gun: Maverick was not just a film, it was a rescue operation for theaters after the COVID-19 crisis. It brought generations together and reminded people why theaters matter. Cruise has always championed real stunts and practical effects, inspiring a wave of directors to focus on realism and action. Many modern stars, like Keanu Reeves, John Wick, and Daniel Craig, James Bond, have cited Cruise's commitment as a benchmark for their own physical dedication. At over 60 years old, Cruise is still performing at a level that many actors in their 30s struggle to match. He's proof that age is just a number when it comes to passion and discipline. Though Cruise remains intensely private, many young actors have spoken about his guidance and mentorship. Miles Teller, who played his co-pilot in Top Gun: Maverick, praised Cruise for teaching him about aerial training, professionalism, and dedication. Directors like Christopher McQuarrie and Doug Liman have praised Cruise's creative involvement in every part of filmmaking. Cruise is known for remembering crew members by name, treating everyone on set with respect, and inspiring teamwork above all. Behind the camera, he's not just a leader, he's a force of unity. Personal reflection: the man behind the star. Despite his global fame, Cruise remains a mystery to many. He doesn't use social media the way most stars do. He rarely gives personal interviews. He is singularly focused on his craft. But there are a few constants. Kindness on set. Many crew members report Cruise personally thanking them after production wraps. Meticulous preparation. Whether it's learning how to fly a helicopter, pilot a jet, or hold his breath underwater, Cruise masters every skill before stepping onto the set. A deep love for movies. More than anything, Cruise is a fan of cinema. He loves watching films, talking about them, and preserving their magic. In an age of celebrity oversharing, Cruise has kept the mystery of the movie star alive. Surprisingly, despite his legendary career, Cruise has never won an Oscar. He's been nominated 3 times, 4 Born on the 4th of July, Magnolia, and Jerry Maguire, but never took the golden statue home. But ask Cruise what he values more, and his answer is clear: the audience. Always the audience. That's who I make movies for. This mindset separates him from the crowd. Awards may come and go, but the connection with millions of fans worldwide, that lasts forever. A living legend. Here's what Tom Cruise's life looks like in numbers. Over 40 years in Hollywood, 50-plus movies across every genre, over $11 billion in global box office, dozens of iconic characters: Maverick, Ethan Hunt, Jerry Maguire, Vincent, Lestat, and more. Countless hearts inspired by his journey from a struggling dyslexic teen to an international icon. And yet, he's still just getting started. Final words: what we learned from Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise's story is more than action, fame, or drama. It's a story about discipline, his relentless training, and focus on improvement. Belief. Even when people doubted him, he believed in himself and proved them wrong. Reinvention. From teen idol to action legend, he's never stopped evolving. Passion. He doesn't act for money or fame. He acts because he loves it. In an era of instant success and viral fame, Tom Cruise is a reminder that true greatness takes time, effort, and endless heart. He is not just a Hollywood actor. He is a legacy,